Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Param Param Ishvaro Guratmeti Mochi Veda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyakta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sava Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatoshmaham Om Shanti 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 Om Om Namaste. I'm gonna try. Sylvia did not bring her laptop, so I'm going on my cell phone here. If it becomes difficult, I have the. But I like to see you guys rather than just see the text. So we have seen again on the chapter 12 those different classes of Jnana, and our last class we have seen the Jnanis of the middle class. We have seen the Jnanis of the middle class. Verse. Let's begin here. 38. We have seen this. Just a rapid recap. Jnanis of the middle class, accustomed to control their mind, to discipline the mind due to good sadhana along many years of preparation of the mind remains in check while the Jnani is experiencing pleasure and pain. And thus the response to the world is as indistinct as that of a man in sleep. Okay, we have seen that. So let's talk about the middle class Jnani. And I tell you, I mean, all of this needs to be taken in a certain way. For example, I mean, today I woke up feeling so bad that somehow it's difficult to keep the mind in check, because the body and the mind discomfort is so huge. You understand? So, I mean, the Jnani in its inferior nature is the body mind. When the body mind is a fact, so one thing does not change is the knowledge I am not the body mind, but the experience of a hurting body mind is unavoidable, and the quality of the mind also changed. So of course I have been irritable this morning. The mind is irritable, the body, but right now the beginning again I'm feeling a little cold as well. So we have to understand Jnana is one and the same. The class of all these different Jnanis, it goes more to the degree of not only certainty and firmness of self-knowledge, as well the degree of purification that hard and far self-knowledge has produced in the causal body, in the vasana body. So it's putting simple words, it's more or less that. And then there are some Jnanis that are subject to a lot of impurities coming from the causal body. The middle class is not subject to much of those impurities, and the highest of all Jnanis has such a purified mind that it may be difficult or rare that such a Jnani experience negative thoughts and emotions. You understand? So it's not very, very important. The important is to know that self-knowledge is not a myth. It is possible with the help of the scriptures, and it transforms the way one experiences the body, mind, in the world. But after all, we are all human beings. You understand? And our humanity. So, as I think I have been saying it lately. So we are born from the animal realm. So the most inferior of all men and women are very animalist, let's say, and then we become good human beings, So our animal, instinctive, violent nature gives place to our human nature, more sophisticated, and with good exercise of intelligence and observation of Dharma, and so we become a good human. And then that has to be transcended as well through this process of spiritual development, so that we developed not only our good human nature but our divine nature, which is the nature as conscious existence. So this is the whole game, and but it does not mean to say that some old strong reactions which are more animalist by nature do not visit the mind of Jnani from time to time. I have seen quite a few times in the mind of James Swarta Ramji, as well as he very honestly here and there he confessed. So these things, they are not very important. The important is jnana. And then if you want to be happy, we need to do some work with purifying the mind. But jnana is already established. The jnanis of the highest order are left untouched because they remain as the burned skeleton. We saw that, the body, the mind is there, but they are just they are not real anymore. It's just a shape of something that no longer deceives the jnani. Or it's like he's still body mind operate by karma, but the karma which are seeds that produce actions and its results, this karma does not no longer fructify or manifest, such as in the case of a roasted seed that does not sprout anymore. But still there is some prarabdha. When we say there is prarabdha for the jnani, we're going to go to revisit it. There is still old past tendency that's still sitting there. You understand? And then they appear as not only one's life circumstance, but the way one reacts to certain circumstances. You understand? Those are old tendencies that still come in spite of one's self-knowledge. Does it make sense, Mark?
Yes, it does make sense, Arlindo. Yeah.
Okay. The verse 42, the ignorant are not aware of the pure self. They see it as always blemished, and hence they believe in the reality of the world. They are therefore affected by the pleasures and pain. So this is understandable. It's samsari believes I am the body, I am the mind. The world is out there, reality is duality, and this world of objects serves the purpose to complete me or to give me happiness. So this is the life of the self-ignorant samsari. As for the lowest order of the jnani, these they realize the self off and on, and some ignorant vasana, spells of ignorance, overtake them from time to time. Why? Because there are some predispositions in the mind, okay, that it still has to come. But how those predispositions, they burn themselves out in the lives of jnana. So, we have seen some passages in which the author here suggests that some jnanis even stimulate some old ignorant predispositions so that it can be burned in the light of the scriptural knowledge. So because the knowledge is going to somehow cancel, destroy these predispositions. Which kind of predisposition? Duality or ignorance residual ignorance. So that's the situation of the lowest. They are still subject to some of these predispositions. But it's here they are often, not always, able to override the old negative self-ignorant tendencies. And thus there is an ongoing struggle between wisdom and ignorance. So this is the case of the the entry level of the Jnana, and I talk from my first-hand experience, in which there is a struggle in the sense that you know what you know, but your life and your knowledge is not yet on the same page. And then you have to if you know the scriptures, you know that's okay, it's all well, that's normal. In my experience, I did not have Vedanta, and I saw there is something wrong with my enlightenment. So no, it's normal. It's as if there is a struggle, the old tendencies are going to come and claim, no. So forget about self-knowledge and non-duality, I am reality. I am your old friend, your old vasanas, your old tendencies. The world is real. Go and get it. Go and get it. So this is going to be the conflict in the mind of the Jnani at entral level. But jnana is one and the same, but the degree by which these old tendencies still comes to claim ignorance as knowledge, is going to be more or less frequent. Forgetfulness of the self never overtakes the middle class of Jnani. Therefore, wrong knowledge never possesses him, however, of his own accord. He brings out some predisposition from his own depths in order to maintain his body according to prarabdha. There are different ways we can interpret this one. I think we spoke about that. I remember Mark gave some suggestions as well. So I tend to interpret it more or less in the way I just mentioned a few minutes ago. So let it come, let it come. It's going to be purified in the light of Jnana. And but here it points to the fact that I have some roles to play and some lifestyle that requires certain vasanas. So I bring those predispositions so that I can, according to my prarabdha, do what needs to be done. As far as the aspirant, the entry level, there is no. Oh, this is the aspirant. This is before Jnana. There is no forgetfulness of the self. No, this is the entry level. No, there is no forgetfulness of the self. So long as he is engaged in practicing their sadhana, but the accomplished Jnani is always unforgetful of its true nature, the self, and picks out his own predisposition according to. Now, this is the sadhaka, the one still searching self-knowledge and moksha, right? Right? I believe so. The aspirant. As far as the aspirant, so he does not forget the self for as long as he's engaged in the scriptural sadhanas, shravanam, mananam, nididhyasana. So when we are there is a certainty of self-knowledge. But when we move away from the scripture and the guru, and then there is a sense that I forgot my true nature. That is, which is different from the entry level Jnani, that although still experience some ignorance, he never forget. He say, doesn't matter. I know I'm none of this. I'm not any of these predispositions. Now I would prefer not to have any predisposition which cause discomfort and bad feelings and conflict. But after all, I'm none of this. The highest of Jnanis makes no difference between samadhi and the word transaction. We have also seen that. He does not need to be controlling and keeping his mind in check, because the knowledge was already gained, and then the life becomes more like a natural samadhi. On the other hand, the Jnani of the highest order involuntarily and naturally abides in samadhi. So the Jnani of the highest order is the one who experiences sahaja samadhi regardless of circumstance. So both the middle and the highest has no tinge of karma left. No? How can there be anything of karma? Because the wildfire of Jnani has consumed everything. It's all about that. The analogy of fire, that which consumes ignorance. Fire is light, light is knowledge, and it's going to consume ignorance, which is symbolized as darkness. And then here there is this passage in which the commentary says that the prarabdha karma is inferred by the onlooker according to his own idea. So seen from outside, the Jnani is experienced prarabdha. So that holds true for the lowest order of the Jnanis, but not for the middle and the highest. Okay, so the onlooker or seen from outside, we're going to superimpose our own notions and experience. You never know how someone experience one's prarabdha. You need to be under the skin of each one, in the mind of each one, to know how really, although some reactions may give some indication. The ideas of pleasure and pain in others need not be forced on the Jnani, and explanations with the result of positing prarabdha in them. So superimposition, projection. It's very common. It's very, very common. I have experienced something interesting. Is I have my few students in Brazil, and some of them begin developing a relationship as a friend, and then as a friend, so you are just yourself, a person with your predispositions, your vasanas, your tendencies, your notions, your ideas, your opinions, and then the person looks. I have lost a very good, not friend, but a good asset, because it is a doctor that has helped me a lot. But he was slowly moving away from the class and from the scripture due to some bad karma he was experiencing. And he tried to keep the relationship as my buddy, my good friend. And then as a friend, there is a lot of room for misunderstanding, misinterpretation. You understand it? Oh, well, it came a point he said, you have such an ego, your ego. And then when I see the guy was competing with me all the time, was expressing a sense that, he was not, he did not have self-ignorance, and we on the same page. So confusions like that may happen when the teacher who has self-knowledge is a householder and relates to people. One of these very common examples is Ramji as well. Ramji has a lot of people that he relates on a personal, friendly manner, and that gives room to a lot of confusion as well. I know that. Okay, the lower Jnanis is open to doubts whenever such jnana is abstract off and on. The idea of off and on is the idea that Lynn sometimes brings to the class, and they're like on and off, on and off, on and off. So Jnana is always on. The self is always on. Consciousness is always on. Existence is always on. And then Jnana, once gain, is always on. But it appears as obstructed due to ignorance. It's just bits and pieces of ignorance that appears to prevent the the enjoyment and the fruits of self-knowledge, because there are still some bits and pieces of ignorance, like I like to put, as if Jnana is being obstructed. It's not. It is the the enjoyment of Jnana, the fruits of Jnana appear to be obstruct due to these old tendencies, dispositions. Okay, this veil is destroyed. This veil of ignorance, is destroyed, whereas the outgoing tendency drags a little longer. So this is a concept that we all know. You guys probably know from different angles and texts, that we have these two energies, Avarana and Vikshepa. Avarana conceals the true nature of Jiva Atma, and Vikshepa projects the idea Jiva Atma is the body mind. So we have this, and then these teachings suggest that Avarana is destroyed with self-investigation, self-knowledge, but the old tendency, which is the projection, it drags itself a little longer. So it makes sense to me. In the beginning, you get the knowledge, but there will be these energies, Vikshepa, Rajaguna, that's going to superimpose those wrong notions about the self, and that goes for a little longer. That's why it said that that ignorance is the problem. Jnana is the same, but there is still some vikshepa there, which is preventing one from enjoying the knowledge which is already clear. Let me just one sec. I'm gonna change my glass because I'm doing this on my cell phone. Okay. Okay, going back to the body that exhausts, perishes. The body perishes, the mind perishes, because the mind is what? It's deprived, it's empty. It's empty of past predispositions that scream for more experience, So that's all there is to it. Yeah. So desires and fears is the fuel that brings about a new birth. In the absence of the body, the realization of the self must assert itself and emancipate the soul. So there is another class of man whose jnana is contradicted to worldly pursuits. That's not jnana in the true sense. It's only a semblance of jnani. So I think he's referring to the man or the woman who has this jnana on the intellectual level, but the life is not changed, the personality is not changed, and then the activities, the behave pursuing worthy objects are going to contradict their knowledge. But when that happens, more often than not, people do not have the intellectual integrity to just realize, no, my knowledge is just academic, and that's why I was saying that I was in great confusion. If I have self-knowledge, if I am enlightened, why I'm still uptight when things are not my way, do not go my way, I mean, this is part of being honest with yourself. You need to question yourself, you know? And then if you have the scriptures of Vedanta, you can understand that that's all part of the process, and that's what Ramji used to refer as enlightenment sickness or things like that. And then residual prarabdha. The Jnanis do not reincarnate. Sometimes they're active. It all depends on one's prarabdha, as is the case with ordinary men. Yes, every one of us is just three bodies processed or programmed and operate by past prarabdha or past experience, memories of past experience, or mental emotional tendencies or predispositions. Otherwise, their apparent pleasures and pains would be as if accidental. So we need to infer that for the Jnani, there is prarabdha, because otherwise their pleasures and pains would not be account to his prarabdha, but would be something accidental. We know there is no accident in the universe, so it's not acceptable, not even for, or maybe only for a philosopher. Hence, all these discussions about prarabdha for Jnanis to clarify a little bit what it means that there is prarabdha for Jnanis. So there is and there isn't, as we know. In Bhagavad Gita, no doubt says one is reborn in environments consistent. Environment consists with the thought uppermost in one's mind while dying. These statements apply to others and not to Jnanis. As for Jnanis, the following is said in other script. So for the Jnani, it's very important. They say that we hold elevating thoughts before leaving our body. So you hold your pujas, your mantras, your mahavakyas, your teachings in the mind. You just hold it, and that helps us to pass in a way, so that if we come back on a good circumstance, in a good birth, you know. But other Jnanis, has the root of misery cut off at the instant of realized the self. It is material for him if he dies in a whole place, if he dies in coma or in an accident, he is already emancipated regardless of having to remember when he's about to die. You guys know that that joke of someone there from Mumbai that was a business person. He developed a good business of trading silver, and then he did grow. And then when he was doing well, he said, "Okay, God, so you gave me prosperity. Now I want a wonderful, beautiful young wife." And then God provided him with a wife. And then he said, "Okay, God, now I want to have two sons, two male children, you know, and I'm going to name them Ram and Krishna so that I can chant your name over and over again." The guy was a businessman. He was smart. He wanted to make Ram Krishna, Ram Krishna, Ram Krishna. His unconscious or natural or sadhana. And then everything was going good. The children was brilliant. They were taking care of the business. And then when old age came, the guy got a terminal illness, and then he was in his deathbed. And the doctor says, so he said, "Oh, I have to have my two children when I pass." "Well, why you have this fixation?" "Because I'm going to hold them in both of my arms, and I'm going to say, Ram, Krishna, Ram, Krishna, Ram, Krishna. I don't want any other thought, come into my mind." So he was a strategist, not only a good businessman, but a good strategist. You guys know this story? A good strategist. And he said, "Now I know. I'm going to trick the system here. and I'm going to be born or not born or go to the highest possible locus where I'm going to meet Ram and Krishna. And then the doctor came out, bring the children because the old man is close to depart. And then the children came, and then he held the hands, the arms and the hands of his two children. He said, thanks God you came. God is good to me. He's putting my life all in place for my highest goal. And then he's all holding the hand of the two children, say Ram Krishna, Ram Krishna, Ram Krishna. And then he started going weaker and weaker and weaker. And Ram Krishna, Ram Krishna. And then in a certain moment, he remembered, who of you is going to take care of the booking of the company? And then he died. He died thinking of money, the finance of the company. He could not trick Ishwara. Nobody can trick Ishwara. Isn't it, Philip? Therefore, people say that in the last moment you hold elevate thought, and that no, your mind has your life has to be consistent with your life, because you cannot fake. We can fake it in media, but Ishwara knows when we are faking and when we are not faking. Yeah? So unmistakably realize Brahman even once by a master's guru's help, by scripture statements, or even by inference, or even intuitively by one's own effort, and then once is emancipated and is clear from karma. Such karma is only a trick believed to be true by onlooker. I shall explain this point further. He says, from outside there is an appearance that there is a lot of karma going on and the person is not free. Yeah? Vasaman had all his doubts cleared by this discourse of Hemangada. So Vasaman was there. Hemangada was clearing. Yeah? So you remember who is Vasanan? Vasaman was the ghost that was a Brahmin that came out of that difficult situation, and Hemangada was the prince that was a sage. And then Parasurama heard this conclusion of this story from Sri Datra, but Parasurama is never satisfied. Is it a problem? Maybe, yeah. When a disciple is never satisfied and want to ask more question, and he say, Master, I have heard your whole words, your holy words regarding realization and wisdom. My doubts are now cleared. I now understand the non-dual state of abstract consciousness pervading all and abiding in the self. Nevertheless, kindly tell me the essence of the whole discourse in a few words so that I can keep it in my pocket. So now I want the summary, and then I will. Swami Paramarthananda, as you know, loves to do that. He likes to present, a summary every time he finishes a chapter of one of those larger scriptures, so that we can develop the entire vision of each one of those chapters, and then we're going to understand, the entire picture of how this teaching that unfolds in the nature of the self. So, and then he was asking Sri Datta, again, due to his compassion, resumed, that which abides the self is just consciousness, pure intelligence. Is also existence. Transcendental being is the existence that does not belong to this realm of matter and energy, but transcends matter and energy. That is the being, the existence that concedes existence to the entire universe and its pure consciousness. It is self-contained, so those are notions that we have already very, very well established in our satsangs. It's self-contained. It does not borrow or gain or it's not in debt with any other source of conscious existence. No? And it is the substratum of Maya and Nitya. No? And due to its powers being one without a second, this Satchitananda, this Tripura, makes even the impossible possible. Yeah? It displays the universe as a series of images reflecting in the mind, in consciousness. And now he says, I'm going to tell you how Maya does that. That sounds like interest. You think there will be anything new? I doubt. We know everything about how Maya does that. Commentary. Perfect ego. Ego is imperfection, is the perfect ego. I consciousness. Some distinctive characteristics have to be admitted in order to distinguish consciousness from energy and matter. No? So why all of that happens, this superimposition, this reflection, no? Of course, in the mirror-like conscious existence of Brahman, yeah, through the Prakriti of Maya, that requires certain distinctive characteristics in order to create this distinction between consciousness and the world and the universe experienced in consciousness. Consciousness amounts to the flash of pure knowledge, intelligence. It is of the two kinds. It is the subject, jiva, and the objective universe. So the subject and the object, the later of this, the object, is dependent on the subject, which is fundamentally, it must be resolved as pure consciousness, pure knowledge. As I is alone, admissible. So what is going on here in this universe? And here he puts it, there are two things playing in this universe. One is matter, energy, and the other is spirit or conscious existence. So we know the matter and energy do not stand without the support, so to speak, quote, of conscious existence. So conscious existence is the only reality, and somehow it gives gives existence to the universe. In order for Maya, for this power, to superimpose these energies, these matter energies in consciousness. So it says here that we have to have a lot of attributes and qualities in order to create this apparent distinction. Some distinctive characteristics or attribute the energy is coming developed on the Prakriti of Maya have to be admitted intellectually in order to distinguish consciousness from matter energy. So matter energy, it's not self-contained. It depends on Tripura, depends on consciousness and existence. So this conscious existence appears to be imperfect when it is limited to the body or other similar entities. So the physical body or the subtle body, it's imperfect, as we know. Time and space have their being in pure intelligence. So the body-mind, of course, we're seeing the time-space, and the time-space also, of course, within the scope of conscious existence, which is perfect. Nothing can possibly surpass it, and yet it is all this. Therefore, it's the aggregate of all the jivatmas, all the egos. Nevertheless, consciousness is distinguished from inertia for the sake of preliminary instruction. So now here, we need to do this the discrimination between consciousness and matter and energy. At the beginning, on the preliminary stage, the instructions is there are two factors operating. One is consciousness, and the other is matter energy. So, for the sake of preliminary instruction, so that the disciple may become conversant with the nature of the self. So she is transcendental and also non-dual. So this distinction, which is apparent because there is no really matter and energy, and we will see that in Mandukya Karika, there isn't really, okay, in reality. But it appears to be, and we have to accept the appearance. We deny reality, but the experience, the appearance and the experience cannot be denied. But we, Jnanis, we can deny reality. And so, since this cannot be cancelled in terms of appearance and experience, we need to do this work of discriminating between consciousness and the energies and the namarupas, all the configurations that occurs within consciousness. The self is the subject, and the not self is other objects. She is also Tripura, the individual egos falsely identified with the body-mind. So everything is Tripura, everything is Brahman, everything is consciousness, existence of limitless nature, including the ego, the false sense of I am the body-mind. Everybody is already the self-consciousness Tripura. The consciousness is put here in a funny way, say that this Tripura is the ego imperfection, while abiding is pure consciousness. So if you abide in this knowledge, I am this limitless Tripura, then this knowledge is firm. So we can say that the ego is there, but it's the ego imperfection. This is the same of abstract intelligence. So we cannot avoid, we cannot cancel the fact that human consciousness appears and is experienced by the mind itself, by the Jivatma's consciousness, which is self-reflective. Now there is no mind and reflect consciousness. Mind and reflect consciousness is one thing, but the nature of the mind is such that it somehow itself reflects upon itself. Understand? We have all these different functions in the subtle body, but fundamentally there is only one organism called the subtle body, and the reflections that occur we call for certain distinction as the thoughts, and the total thoughts is the mind, but it's only one single thing. It is the ego as put here. The ego with the notion that I am the body mind, but can abide as I am pure limitless conscious existence, which is my true nature. So the suggestion here is to change the wrong notion I am the body mind, and take in the good notion I am the abstract consciousness, the abstract intelligence, limitless intelligence. Oh no, but this is just another notion, another program. But one notion is absolutely off mark. I'm remembering a mark here. It's off mark, and the other notion is on mark. Okay, so this is a notion that is absolutely according to one's nature and true identity as consciousness, and the other is just I'm confusing myself with the reflections, with the thoughts, with the notions. So the unbroken I consciousness remains before creation and as will, self-sufficient and independent in nature, and is also called Svatantra. She turns into action, kriya, during creation. It is called maya. Okay, we're going to skip this concept. Creation is not vibration or metamorphose. It is a mere superimposition or projection of image like those in the mirror, or just like a mirage. Because Sakshi cannot be reached, consciousness cannot be reached by time, and much less broken up by time. This Shakti, Chaitanya, is eternal, and it follows that the universe has no origin. Yeah. So this is another concept that we're gonna go so deeply into this, that the universe was never created, there is no origin. Ishvara Jivan Jagat was never originated, in fact. Therefore, the universe has no origin. So at a certain stage, we say, no, it has origin in Maya, in the causal body, and then it manifests, but all of that in the end is going to be rejected as well. She, who is the transcendence, awareness, perfection, and total summation of all egos of her own, will divide herself into two, the subject and object. Imperfection is concomitant with such scission, subject and object. There is bound to be an insentient phase which represents the aforesaid exterior or unmanifest void. So in between there is a sentient phase in which the deep silence or deep void still is experienced. The sentient phase is Sadasiva Tattva. Okay, so here he seems to be pointing to the fact that even the emptiness of everything contained as a potential, according to these preliminary teachings. All of that has to be seen as mithya, as objects, and the only sentience is Tripura. Perfection is concomitant with such division. So this division, is a apparent division, as we know. So I remind me again of the concept of Swami Paramarthananda in regards to we live a life in the triangle mode, which is Ishwara, Jiva and Jagat, and then I have to get my act together to understand the Creator, so that I live in harmony with everyone and everything. And then I'm a devotee of the Creator, and in that way I grow naturally. So, but the true final stage of this is you have to leave the triangle mode and move into the binary mode, which is I am consciousness and everything else is matter energy. I am Satya, everything else is Mithya. And Mithya is just an appearance that happens within me. This is the split, the division, the seizure that appears to occur but does not really occur according to our final teachings. The sentient phase. Now Sadashiva, also not being perfect, sees the unmanifest void. The sentient phase becomes aware of the insentient phase, but yet knows it to be of himself. I am also this. So he's having a pick on the mind of Ishvara, let's say. The sentient phase. So Ishvara is self-aware and aware of the world, and Ishvara has the knowledge of both. He knows this reflection of the world is only myself. I'm also this. Everything resolves in I. So note, the sentient phase is called Ishvara. Ishvara is bright, and whether we take it to be Ishvara 2 or Ishvara 1, but it's made of conscious, of pure intelligence, pure knowledge. And the insentient aspect in the universe is the prakriti, is nature, is maya. Here we have those two aspects. And this maya is also referred as a vidya in the Upanishads. So it's a vidya because it affects the human jivas, the human ego, human consciousness, to take the world, insentient world, which includes the body-mind, to be a reality, to be real. Whereas the sentient, self-conscious principle is Brahman, or conscious, or Ishvara. So Maya is the beginning of the whole trick. So Maya is a very mysterious phenomenon. It's something that produces this apparent division between experiencer and experienced. And then the experiencer experiences the universe and somehow draws a sense of identity in the body-mind as the body-mind. And the end game seems to be to transfer this identity as the body-mind to the identity as consciousness, existence of limitless nature. The sentient phase is called Ishvara. Later, Sadasiva identifies the insentient phase with his body. Consciousness apparently identifies the insentient aspect of consciousness with his body at the time of starting the creation. So everything is taken back into consciousness as consciousness. Everything is resolved. Even matter and energy, is identified by Ishvara, which is not an entity, a knowing experience, but somehow we can infer certain things. We infer that there is such a thing as a time of starting creation, but this is going to be rejected as we move into Mandukya. Therefore, we can use the same name Ishvara, or like Ramji used to do, Ishvara 1, Ishvara 2. Ishvara colored by the gunas, Ishvara free of any guna attributes. Now this contaminate higher ego, namely Ishvara. He's putting Ishvara as the ultimate ego. Divide himself into the three aspects, Rudra, Vishnu, Brahma, represent the modes of the ego associated with the three qualities. So darkness, total ignorance, the ignorant ego. Brightness, knowledge, clarity, and activity, Rajoguna. So these three aspects, which are the three gunas, darkness, brightness, and activity, who in their run manifests the cosmos consisting of many words. I'm going to stop because I'm beginning to run out of energy and I start feeling more and more cold. I go to bed. And today is Monday, So I'm going to give you a message whether we do it on Thursday or Friday, okay?
I think it is Friday.
Friday, okay. Yeah, to give myself more time. Yes, good point. Yeah. Okie dokie. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namaste. Thank you, my friends.
Thank you.
Meet you soon again.